We are back on MorningLine. Steve Gill with us. He is a Republican political strategist, and I guess you'll be attending the president's visit at the. Are you going to go to the Hermitage?
We'll be at the municipal auditorium with the people.
A lot of people coming down here, and we'll be covering it, of course, here. News Channel 5 right across the street from Municipal Auditorium, so we're strategically placed, and we'll have coverage throughout the day of everything that happens.
They could just have them all.
That would be a good idea. I mean, all right, let's get to some more phone calls, and we'll go next to Taylor. Taylor, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hi, Taylor.
You, Steve, don't see you very often.
Good to be back.
Speaking of not seeing very often, tonight is going to be another special treat for the people of Tennessee. We'll get to see Lamar Alexander. Haven't seen him out in public other than when he walked across the state to be governor. He normally just hits the civic clubs as far as public appearances.
So he'll be there, right? And the Corker, is he coming in with the president? I think he may be flying in with him. So, yeah, both senators will be here, Taylor. You're right.
Yeah, they're going to be the opening comedy acts to get the crowd all stirred up. And my second point is on the health care plans. Since some of the Republicans disapprove of it and all of the Democrats, I would truly suggest that they work on it for another year, and in the meantime, just let America watch this current program totally collapse. Because all we're doing now is trying to change what started out to be a one-payer government program that was step one, and they hope to go all the way with it. The Democrats did, and so now we're just trying to change it around a little. It needs to be totally changed, and my suggestion is let the current one collapse, and then maybe they can come up together with a program that'll work. Hope to see you tonight, Steve. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Taylor.
You know, a big problem, Nick, in this whole process is that on the Senate side, it takes 60 votes to get past basically the filibuster to get something done. And the Republicans have 52 seats in the U.S. Senate. And the Democrats are showing that they're going to block anything and everything that comes along. So actual policy is going to be very difficult in the Senate side. So if you're going to do anything to repeal and replace to fix Obamacare, then you've got to do it under what's called the reconciliation process, where they can do it with 51 votes in the U.S. Senate, the same way that they passed Obamacare. And that's why they're constrained with some of the rules and some of the procedures. That's why they keep talking about this three-phase step, that what they do first has to be rather limited in what they can do to fix it, and that's where the real fight is. Will that limited fix actually do enough? Because the cross-border things that we were talking about earlier, some of these other policy fixes can't be included under reconciliation that will get past the Senate. And yet at the same time, if you've got conservative senators who are saying, I will not vote for this, they won't even get their 51 with the Republicans.
I think your friend Cruz was more or less saying, you know, we can see what comes out of the House with Paul Ryan, but, you know, a lot of the Republicans in the House maybe don't want to get on board this, something that's going to die in the Senate instantly anyway.
Well, and that's where you've got Senator Cotton from Arkansas, you've got Mike Lee, you've got other senators saying, it's not going to pass in this form, so don't go get hung out if you're a Republican in the House and vote for something that's going to cost you politically when it's not going to pass in the Senate.
Exactly. So they just need to get to the plan. It takes time to put. It took years for this Obamacare to come into form, and as it rolls, it takes a little bit of time to get it going. You know, I mean, I think Trump wanted it fast, but wasn't he the one that said, "Gosh, healthcare is more complex than I thought"? Well, hello, yeah.
It's not necessarily that the issue is more complex, but I think the process in Washington.
Maybe the process.
You know, look, we've got a majority in the Senate, we've got a majority in the House. Why can't we pass legislation that the American people voted for me to do, whether it's tax cuts, whether it's repealing and replacing Obamacare, building a wall, etc.? Why aren't we able to get this done? And I think he's meeting the political realities in Washington, which when we talk about draining the swamp, that's why you have to drain the swamp before you can get anything done.
Let's go next to Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hello. I was calling to talk. Why don't you have someone else from the other side on there besides him?
Well, this is a Republican president who's coming today, Steve Gill, as a Republican political strategist. You know, we thought we'd have him on to kind of talk about what was happening on this. It's not so much the issues debating, even though you've got some strong opinions on some of that.
Plus you have Nick disagreeing with me on all this stuff.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate on some of the issues, but we've had programs on this show, clearly, where we've had callers that can voice their opinions, but we've had Democrats on by themselves on before, and Steve Gill is a Republican on today. He's by himself. Donald Trump coming in, and of course you were involved and know of some of his his arrival here and what's going on. So that's the way it is today. But yeah, on this program, we get the opposite call the other way. Nick, why do you have the Democrat on there and not a Republican? So we go back and forth on that, but I thought this meshed. And you are one of the reasonable individuals sometimes, I think. There's some
sometimes
others
I'm reasonable.
on both sides that can be a little extreme. So let's go next to, but thank you, Catherine. That's a fair question. I hope I answered that for you. You may not agree, but that's kind of our take on this. Let's go to Teresa. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. I enjoyed listening to you this morning. I have a comment.
Sure.
How would our senators and our congressmen all over the United States and also our president feel if their insurance was completely dropped or they had to buy their own insurance? How would that feel?
Well,
because they have a lifetime insurance coverage for them. Also, there was a comment made about, these ugly, protesters, all this stuff and everything. I don't go for that, I mean, you can do it civil-wise, whatnot. Sure. But does the GOP remember the day Obama was being inaugurated? Mitch McConnell and his cohorts was on the side already plotting against President Obama. They called him Muslim lover.
Yeah, sure. I mean, here's the thing. You hear now with Donald Trump a lot of his supporters saying, this is unfair, they're tearing him. I'm sorry. I remember, be it Obama, Bush, Clinton, you're not going to sit here and convince me that Trump is getting hammered any worse than some of them were early on when they first came on by their critics. And so it's everyone looks through a certain filtered glass, to my opinion. It happens all the time. That's politics, man. It's not just Trump. Don't say Trump's being picked on more than any other president. I don't buy that for a second.
I would say, though, you did not see we're not going to allow cabinet appointees to get through the process. You didn't see the obstruction that you're seeing from the Democrats of even allowing him to pick people who are beyond credentialed to fill these positions. You saw people like Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan as Supreme Court nominees who were extraordinarily liberal get bipartisan support because they were based on their credentials, not their ideology. Mm-hmm. And we need to see that same sort of America First cooperation from the Democrats, and we are not seeing that at this time.
Are you convinced
we're not seeing
that
it in any of these votes.
What do you think of the Department of Education? I mean,
again, the people that Barack Obama put up were left-wing and could have been opposed by Republicans on that basis.
I don't know if she's conservative or liberal necessarily, but I mean, just some of the stuff she said during confirmation, like protecting him from grizzlies, left me scratching my head. Does that not get you, Steve?
I think there are things that all these people say.
What planet is she from?
I think all these people say things during their confirmation hearings.
Everything is scrutinized.
That sometimes they're going, what? And they go back and look at something, and sometimes things are taken way out of context. But I'm telling you that the same thing could have been done to every one of Barack Obama's nominees for cabinet appointments and others. And Republicans put the country first, and it's time for Democrats to start showing some of that same America first rather than their political partisanship.
I will say this, too, in fairness to Donald Trump and any future president to come after him. He's living in an age that he's social media. Where's your phone? I mean, it's everywhere. And he engages in that way, which can bring more attention to him. But he faces more of a social media draw than any other president that came before him. And again, that can bring things more to a high profile. And that's just because of the time he was elected.
Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor were extreme liberals, and yet they got confirmed by Republicans in the U.S. Senate who put aside their ideological differences and said they have the credentials and the president has the right to pick his people. And we need to see the Democrats put the country first in that same way.
All right, let's go to David real quick. David, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Good. Go ahead, sir.
I have a couple things to say. My first thing I would like to say to Mr. Gill is, if Donald Trump wants to heal the country, I think one of the things he needs to start doing is leave off the great in his statement, make America great again, because great tends to make people think that you want to go back to a time when America was better. And America has not always been great for everyone. And second, if people are in your organization that are not being inclusive for everybody, to me, that's a waste of time, because you're trying to heal. If he wants to be everybody's president, not just the Republican president, he needs to heal the country. And that's all I have to say.
Well,
All right.
first I would say we didn't see any healing the last 8 years when President Obama was not exactly reaching out. In fact, when he first got in, they passed Obamacare without a single Republican vote, and his attitude to the Republicans was, I won, you lost, I'm running the show. So you can't complain too much about payback. And I was an English and history major in college, so if you don't like the Make America Great Again hats, your problem shouldn't be Make America Great. It might ought to be the word again that would bother you, but I don't see how anybody could complain about the idea of Make America Great. You might want to quibble over again.
I think it was again, but
so if your word you're complaining about is again instead of great, you may have a point, but just because we're going to make America great again doesn't necessarily mean that we're going back, as the Democrats try to portray, we're going to go back to slave days, we're going to go back to Jim Crow. I would also point out that slave days and Jim Crow were under Democratic Party leadership.
And to me, though, the doom and gloom, and every political candidate that's running to replace someone who's incumbent is going to say how horrible things are. To me, America's great, and it's been great for the past 50 years in general compared to other places around the world. I just want to make it better. That's my take.
Or great.
And great. But I mean, it's still
Make America mediocre
still
isn't going to sell.
Pretty darn great place to live as far as I'm concerned.
Nobody
This is
be
where I
wearing
want to
Make
live.
America mediocre hats.
Yeah, no, that's not going to sell.
Well, maybe the left.
Real quickly, nearly 100 Tennessee lawmakers expected to be at the Hermitage. Okay, and then of course the big crowd, the populace, will be here at the Municipal Auditorium. And you want to stay tuned to all of this. The president, again, as far as you know, will be talking about healthcare, and he'll be talking about, I suppose, education. You think you may address some of the tax things? Real quick, we've only got about 30 seconds.
I think he'll talk about healthcare. I think he'll talk about education. I think he'll talk about the military. I think he'll probably talk a little bit about this whole tax deal that Rachel Maddow and MSNBC made into a big fluff last night.
Gotcha. Steve Gill, thank you for coming on.
Good to see you,
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll see you over there, all right? We'll be out there covering it all day. See you again. All right, we'll be back with a programming note right after this. Stay with us.